Hey guys, Dean from Geekade here, and we are back from Too Many Games 2016. It was a fun time. I'd like to thank all the promoters at Too Many Games and everyone who put that show together. It was absolutely fantastic, and I could not have wished for a better con. I did happen to get some stuff, and I figured I'd follow Chris's suit and make a haul video like he did. So I'm going to go over a few of the things that I got real quick. This is basically the brunt of it. I got a few extra things and some stuff from my girlfriend Michelle. And this is the stuff that I really enjoyed and that I thought you guys might like if I shared it with you. So let's go over some of the basics real quick. The first thing that I got that I thought was really cool was this card game called Movie Buff. Movie Buff is a game that tests your knowledge about cinematography and movies and stuff, and I thought it was really cool. It's for 2 or more players, and it's for ages 10 and up. I mean, heck, I'm sure even someone younger than 10 could really play it, but they'd probably have to have knowledge of movies to play it. So, yeah, it's not a really difficult game. It's just you put a card down and you'll be able to say a specific thing, and it keeps going around from player to player. I'm not going to keep trying to explain it because we have a video on our YouTube channel from the actual guy who made the game that explains it very, very well. So why am I going to try to do it, right? So that was one thing I got. It was 25 bucks, and if you like the description of how the game plays out on our video, go ahead and buy it. You know, you can get it on their website, and 25 bucks isn't a lot of money for a really cool game. And you're never going to need an expansion pack for it because as long as movies keep coming out, you're pretty much good. So that's the first thing I got. Put that over here since we're not going to be looking at that anymore. The next thing I got was, let's see if this started yet. Yeah, was Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga for obviously the Game Boy Advance. I figured I'd pop it into the Game Boy Advance so you guys could see it on the screen. I figured that was kind of cool rather than just putting up the cartridge for it. This game, just Game Boy Advance in general, is a really special thing to me, mainly because it came out when I was growing up in high school, and I didn't get to play too many games on it because I was focused on girls and stuff, hormones and everything. So I like going back to this system and checking out games that I might have missed. I really like the Mario and Luigi Saga early on because it was what Paper Mario and Super Mario RPG were before, the Super Paper Mario for the Wii U, Paper Jam for the DS and all of that, Bowser's Story for the DS. I didn't really like those games because I felt like they were holding your hand too much and they weren't very difficult. They did a lot of gimmicky stuff instead of just relying on those RPG aspects that made the original games really awesome. So I like going back to games like these because I thought they were really good and I thought they did really fantastic stuff. It was only 15 bucks. Well, I'll get to that. The sticker was $15. However, I didn't pay that. The reason I didn't pay that was because I've always been obsessed with Tetris games. I love puzzle games, and I love versus puzzle games. And Chris always told me that if I wanted to get really good Tetris games, I needed to look no further than Tetris 2 for the SNES, which is a really, really good Tetris game. But he said the coup de grace of Tetris games is the new Tetris from the Nintendo 64. Granted, I don't know where my Nintendo 64 is, so I'm going to have to do some real heavy looking to find it. But I think it was worth it. This game was $25 at the sticker. This game was $15 Tetris 2, and altogether it came to about like 60 bucks for everything. However, I talked to the guy, and he was willing to give me everything for 40 bucks. So, I mean, $20 off. Who says you can't get deals at these cons anymore? So I was really happy to get a whole bundle deal going with it. And they're really great games, I got to thank Chris a little bit because I always tell him about, me wanting to get into collecting. And while I really don't have the money for that, I always do like to pick up things here and there that I just might enjoy playing. And I mean, really, isn't that what video games are about? Even beyond collecting, checking out games that you might not have played or seen early on. I mean, games like Little Samson, obviously, you know, those are just collector's items, and if you want to play them, there's probably easier ways to play them rather than spending $1,200 on the cartridge. But for games like these that are, you know, just relatively cheap and you could pick them up at a convention or maybe a retro game store or something, they're really cool just to have, you know. Looking at the graphics on the back of the new Tetris, they got all these different modes and stuff. You know, it says up to 4 players, collect lines to build 7 wonders from around the world, each of which gives you unique new environment and new music. 3 game modes to choose from: Marathon, Sprint, or Ultra. And I mean, it just looks like a fantastic game. I don't know if you guys can see that. If you can't, I will be happy to take a picture and put it on for you. And then Tetris 2 is just the same thing. It has a bunch of really colorful graphics on the back. You know, and just the quick run through of it. Play alone or challenge a friend in simultaneous split screen action. Line up 3 blocks of the same color and whoosh, they explode. Get rid of special flash blocks and wipe out matching color pieces in one move. Pit your brain against puzzle mode, where the solutions lie in how a single piece is played. Tougher Tetris with more shapes, more components, and 30 levels equals unlimited solutions. Again, they were just improvements upon what was already a great concept. So I had to get them because I'm sure I'm going to get hours of fun out of them. And, you know, I figured we could stream them when people come over and stuff. It'd always be cool to do versus things. And again, Tetris is a cool one. I think the next puzzle game that I want to get is going to be Wario Woods, because I saw Chris playing it, and damn, that game is cool. Like, it's just such a cool concept. Kind of reminds me of a few games on Steam that do the same thing, but you got Mario characters and you have that endearment to them, which just really gives you that nostalgic feel, which is why I kind of want that game. So if I ever get the chance, you know, fingers crossed, I'll pick it up. But here's to hoping. I also like the fact that they gave me these nice plastic boxes to go with the games, because Nintendo 64 and Super Nintendo have cardboard boxes when they first came out. If you guys don't know that, I'm sure everyone does, but just in case. So yeah, if you leave them out and stuff, they're gonna get crushed and messed up, and you don't really want that to happen to these boxes, because they're just so cool. So you can get them online and stuff. They're super cheap, and you know, they come in bulk. You can put them together. But if you want something really special, and I mean really, really special, you can always go to the Stone Age Gamer and get their bit boxes. Those are really cool because they're molded plastic cases for the game, so you don't have to worry about messing up these guys. You can put them away in storage and whatnot, and store them in actual cases where you could see the titles and everything, like Bookend and Nice and all that. But you know, these are great too. But I'll put a link below if you guys are interested in the bit boxes. They're really cool, and I think everyone should check them out. They're at thestoneagegamer.com. The last thing that I picked up, which is probably my greatest find, and this is the one that I have to thank Chris the most about, is the Game Boy player for the GameCube. I've been wanting one of these for since I started streaming, and unfortunately online they are impossible to get, mainly because either A, the startup disc, which I'm holding right here, is missing, or B, they go for astronomical amounts of money when they are together. So I'm not really down for paying tons and tons of money for something like this, because they're not all that uncommon. It's just stupidity of people losing, you know, a disc that drove these things up in price, and I am not paying, you know, $200 for a new old stock of one. That's just crazy at that point. So while I was at the convention, Chris was looking through a bargain bin at Atari Games. If you haven't seen his videos, he's kind of focusing on getting his Atari collection complete, which he's very, very close to. And if anyone has the stuff that he's missing, you should totally email us at mail@geekade.com. I'm sure he'd be willing to pay or trade for something, which he's always down to do, because I mean, when you're that close to that, like a collection, it's really tough not to want to find it as much as possible. So back to what I was talking about. He was going through the bargain bin, and he looked up and he saw this just sitting like this, except it was more just the case and the disc just kind of lying there. And Chris was like, Dean, you should really check this out. you know, I think this is it. So I asked the guy how much, and he said $50. And you know, he was trying to be like, oh, you know, the disc itself is worth $50, and yeah, I know the spiel. He's trying to sell me on it, and I know it's a good price. $50 is a good price for this whole thing here, because you can pay $50 alone for just the bottom part. So I was like, all right, you know, fuck it, let me just do it. Let me just bite the bullet, and I'll get it. And I'm very happy I did. I have to find my GameCube, which I still haven't found. If anything, I'll just buy one. They're like $25 on eBay, so it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I did spend most of my rainy day money at Too Many Games, so I'll have to wait a little bit. But in the meantime, I'm very happy I picked this up. I won't have to be looking for it anymore. I have the disc and everything. The piece itself is in relatively very good shape. There's minimal scratching. You know, it looks like it was almost never used, which, you know, to be honest, it might never have been used, to be fair. It looks like it's been moved around a little bit, but besides that, it looks really okay. So I'm pretty excited to get some use out of it. Again, I really want to do some streaming with this, because, you know, if you don't have one of these, it's almost impossible to play something like a Game Boy Advance game, because otherwise you have to have a capture card in your DS, and an original one, or a DS Lite, but I think they only make capture cards for the original DS as far as I remember. However, getting off topic, and there's a whole mess of problems with sound when you try and do that. Believe me, I know. I have a capture card for the original DS, and it's a huge pain in the ass to try and get capture for it, because the 1/8-inch jack has to go into an input port on the program, so you have to put it into a built-in microphone jack. However, when you're running something ridiculous like what I'm doing on my rig, that makes it a little impossible. So I do have some trouble with that. However, I feel like this is going to solve a lot of problems. I can do streaming with this. I just got to get a standard capture device, which I've already tracked down, and I will be ordering very soon, so you guys will be seeing me playing a lot of Game Boy Advance games, because fuck, they are cool, man. Like, it brought the 16-bit and 32-bit era onto a portable system, and for me, like, that's what I grew up with. That's just really cool to have in the palm of my hands, and I guess that's why I love the system so much, is because it brought my childhood into a portable mode. I know now you can, you know, the 3DS is way above anything the Game Boy Advance could ever do, but I still have a soft spot for this little guy here, even though I love Game Boy and stuff as well. I grew up with that also, but yeah, just the Game Boy Advance was like one of my favorite freaking systems, and when it got to the SP with the backlight and everything, you could play at night now, it was like a dream come true. But I'm gonna shut up. I really don't need to talk about my haul anymore, because I didn't really get that much, and you guys are just gonna hear me going on and on about how much I love Game Boy players and Tetris and Game Boy Advance games and blah blah blah. Anyway, if you guys want to ask any questions about, you know, what I picked up or anything like that, you can always shoot us an email at mail@geekade.com. I am also available on Twitter at Kimono_Vestlord. You can shoot me a message about whatever you like. I'm normally checking it like once a day. So yeah, shoot me a message. You know, I'll be happy to talk to you, chat for a bit. I'm a pretty social guy. You can also check out Geekade.com everywhere on social media: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, which you're on right now, Instagram, and all the other formats that you can find us on. Just search Geekade. We'll come right up, I promise you. With any further ado, I think it's time to end this. So my name is Dean the Vestlord DeFalco, and keep playing games.